Episode 10. The comeback is the content. Your comeback becomes powerful when it stops being only about you. For years, I stood behind the camera helping frame other people's stories. I never imagined the story I was supposed to frame was my own. I thought the worst chapter of my life was something to hide. But eventually, I realized the comeback is the content. Last episode, I talked about moving from hustle to strategy, a mindset shift from chasing random gigs to building something people could actually find. But strategy was only part of the comeback. The bigger question was, what was all of this pain supposed to become? The cameraman died when I realized the old resume could not resurrect the old life. At that point of COVID, you couldn't pay somebody to get behind the camera. No one wanted to be interviewed. No one wanted a photo shoot. No one wanted to be in any type of closed set situation of any sort. And that first night sleeping in my car, it was a very conscious acknowledgement that the path I had taken to that point was highly unlikely to be the path that was going to get me out of this situation. If I was going to have any level of solvency at all, it was going to have to be created by some way that maybe I had never explored before. And let me explain, the cameraman was never just about a camera, right? That's just me simplifying all the things that I did into this one job title. I was a Hollywood dreamer. I was this freelancer. I was a casting professional, the man behind the scenes. In fact, I had a whole clan of folk that used to call me Oz because I was the man behind the curtain. I was the person waiting for the next gig, the next job, the next client, the next opportunity. I was this version of me that believed talent and hustle would always be enough because it had taken me this far. The cameraman knew how to capture everyone else's story, but had not yet learned how to survive the collapse of my own. And there's a short list of people that were with me along this journey that I really can't thank enough. Um, my mother and father, that were my emotional foundation. They didn't know practically the whole time I was going through this, but nonetheless, I they were in my thoughts the whole time. I mean, that was it was critical because it was what kept me, like I said, my emotional grounding. That's what kept me thinking I had to somehow stay in the game. I have to thank Kang, who helped me survive literally. I mean, I couldn't have done it without him. Elder, who helped me understand. In hindsight, things he said were more clear to me than when I was just heading into the fire. And I have to thank Heidi, Young Princess, and Nine in Temple City. That helped me rebuild. That experience helped me rebuild. Heidi was such a good friend, and I really felt like a part of the family, and I can't thank her enough for that. And then, there's my cousin who often had long conversations with me. I mean, hours at a time sometimes when I was living in my car. And along the way, even after the car, he was with me through all of this rebuild. And and of course God, right? Because God gave meaning through all the unexpected doors that opened. He helped me see that none of this was wasted. So let me just talk a little more about reinvention and make it clear that, reinvention is not always glamorous for everybody, especially in my case. It was not one big breakthrough. It looked like it was small steps. It was studying web SEO, web marketing. It was being able to use Wi-Fi in the gym, taking small jobs here and there. The photo booth job, which was semi-regular. It was accepting help and also becoming useful again. That helped me in itself. Um, just learning new skills, building a website. I had no idea when I built the website that it was going to lead to what it led to. I mean, it wasn't like I had paint by numbers and, you know, I could just color in the number one's red and the number two's blue. And I knew that by the time I got through, I was going to have this piece that looked like the example. I had no idea going into even getting an insurance license. I got the license like a year before I even went homeless. Like, that wasn't even a result of my situation. It was just something that started out as like, I wanted to give some of my modeling clients, I wanted to give them some financial advice. Um, and that's how I started. But over the first year or two of the license, I didn't do hardly diddly squat with it. But fortunately, I had the license. And during this time, as it turns out, that was absolutely a critical decision I had made months and months, like I said, at least a year before I even found myself in this situation. So I was really becoming someone new very slowly. That's what the process was. For me, reinvention didn't feel like inspiration at first. It it felt like humility, repetition, study, and just trying to survive. That's how my reinvention felt in the beginning. So, why am I telling this story now? I thought a lot about this telling my story because it puts me in a very vulnerable position. I'm exposing a lot about my life and parts of my life that aren't exactly aspirational, you know. Now, with that said, I'm not telling this story to get pity. That's I don't need that. What has what my mission has become, I'm telling this story because other people are hiding their own collapses. They may not be homeless, but they may be hiding debt, shame, fear, depression, uh, career failure, divorce, family pressure, or the collapse of an identity, like myself. I mean, basically, I'm telling this story because somebody listening may be sleeping in their own version of the car. And I want you to know your life is not over when one identity dies. Sometimes that death is just the beginning of your real assignment. So I want to challenge you, listeners, to ask, what identity are you still trying to keep alive? What old dream are you trying to resurrect? What pain are you hiding that could become useful? Ask yourself, ask yourself this: what lesson did your lowest chapter teach you? And then my closing question: what part of your story are you still ashamed of that might become the message someone else needs? Next season, we're going deeper into the lessons behind the story: identity, shame, money, faith, friendship, and what it really takes to start over. But the main message here in episode 10 is pain becomes purpose when you use it to help someone else prepare, heal, or rebuild. I was flipping through social media. I just started a new Instagram for Death of a Cameraman. Please go ahead and follow me, or whatever that's called, on Instagram. But it's exactly how I feel. And it said, I asked God why he let me be in pain and led me through so much darkness. And he said, it's so you know the way out when I send you back in for someone else. And when I first read that, I got a little emotional. I was tearing up a bit because I felt like it was talking directly to me. And some of you listening might feel like it's talking directly to you. In my case, the cameraman died in that car. But the messenger was born from the story I was trying to hide. You guys, please like this, subscribe, follow, whatever it's called, and share this. Stay tuned. I will create season 2. Thank you so much for being on this journey with me.